We're talking CCP today, and this is Can We Chat?
This podcast has been made possible by our sponsor, Carlson Mechanical, where your imagination comes to reality.
What's going on? My name is Paul G., Chief Safety Officer for the IDPA. This channel will help you clarify IDPA rules, shooting techniques, and inform you of the newest gear and what's going on in the shooting community. If you're new here, consider subscribing. Please welcome back my dear friend and fellow teammate, Anthony Vega,
What's
or
up,
better known as your Viking. What is going on, my
What's
brother?
up?
How you doing?
Doing very well.
Well,
this
good morning to you. We just had a local match, and the weather was insane.
Not as bad as last go round, but it was definitely spicy out there. I mean, I don't know if it was, you're able to work a little harder since, it's not as hot or whatnot. But yeah, after that match, I was wore out.
I began the morning in long pants and a sweatshirt to keep the mosquitoes away. So those
the humidity out there.
They're very abundant at that time. I don't know why. I think it's
Feeding frenzy.
Yeah, it's definitely.
They get some fresh meat out, and they're like, "Ooh."
Oh man! After 2, 3, actually my third stage, I just noticed that my clothes were just sticking to me, right? And I'm like, oh, this is just going to be a horrible day, right?
Mm-hmm.
So.
Something to look forward to.
Well, hell, you did very well yesterday. So this is your first time shooting CCP?
First time shooting CCP, new gun. So kind of trying to figure it out, remembering what I need to do as far as 10 rounds, because now all of a sudden you're like, ooh, so I have a little bit more to play with.
So that's what I wanted to do, was to tell you that, hey, that's good news and bad news, right?
Yep.
So the good news is you get an extra 4 rounds,
well,
right?
5 to start.
Going from bug to CCP, right?
Yeah, now
to
you're
a bigger gun, which actually fits your hand.
Yeah, you could actually hang on to it.
But the bad news is that the company you're keeping now, Jerry Chang and Bill Olmsted, right?
Yeah.
You got some of the fastest guys out there now.
Well, like everything else, it's always a challenge. So I'm looking forward to it, and hopefully, push them and vice versa. You push me and learn from each other, and that's what the community is about. Helping each other out and pushing each other's buttons and getting it going, and watching everybody succeed rather than just an individual.
But I was just so impressed. I was so excited just to watch you shoot. I mean, there's a certain tempo for bug, right? And because you got to hit you only get six shots, right? So
you have to make every round.
Yeah, and so you're. I can definitely see you being reserved. But going from a CCP now, you
can let it fly a little bit more. Like I remember there was a couple stages throughout the match that was able to actually oh no, I don't need to hit. I could actually, put a couple extra one, make sure that I have my hits, and then keep going to get the round count and mag change in. So.
Was it uncomfortable you switching to a different stage strategy?
A little bit, because you get ingrained into, all right, you need to do this, you need to do this, and you're looking at a stage going, oh no, this is completely different. My math's off.
Right.
So thinking about how to shoot one division to another is all of a sudden you're just like, all your rules change. You're like, no, I can't think that way anymore. I have to think this way. So,
and then I had to add to that confusion. I was sitting there. I was totally stumped on one, right?
Oh yeah.
And I turned around and I'm like,
how would you
Viking,
shoot this?
How would you shoot this? And he said, and so, were you thinking like 10 rounds, or were you actually?
No, I was thinking both, because originally I'm like, oh, bug, all right, and then I'm like, no, that doesn't work. And then started thinking about my round count. And then you asked me that question. I'm like, I already have the answer for you. And then you end up working out perfect for you.
Yeah.
So I was just like, oh. And then I was thinking, I'm like, well, that's almost exactly what I do anyway. So.
Right. So I always go to 2 sources. I went to John Priano, and I asked him, and he had some problems with this gun.
Yeah, he did.
So he went from revolver to
is it ESP?
ESP, that's right.
Yeah.
So he's shooting ESP. So he was doing 10 rounds. Yeah, and he sat there and goes, so I think I want to take this home.
Kurt's like, the hell you are.
Right. So he was telling me, and he was flat out telling me how to do a 10 round mag, and I looked at him and went, dude, I only have 6 rounds. He goes, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot about that. So that was crazy, man.
You're like, I need to pick your revolver brain, not this new stuff.
So you're out of all of the CCP guys, the fastest stage was stage 8 for you.
Stage 8.
Yeah, you tore that up.
The warm up, I wouldn't have thought that one.
Right out of the hole, right?
Yeah, first draw, first everything. I mean, I think before this match, I had maybe 30 rounds to the gun total.
Yeah,
and some of it was with a dot on it because when I got it, it had a little hollow sound on it, and pulled that off so it could shoot CCP, and it still doesn't even have the cover plate, so it's kind of like some scab together gear for the most part. But
I don't recommend you do this with your guns, but Viking just he's definitely doing his R&D to try to bring you more information. So that thank you for that.
Mean, we got to do it so that way everybody else learns.
So tell us how did the gun feel in your hand then?
Felt great. I mean, right out of the box, as soon as I held this, I was like, I need this.
All right. So is your palm, because with the bug gun, I noticed that you were having some palm issues when you're reloading. So are you having reloading issues with this? Obviously not.
Not so much.
Okay.
With this particular gun, it's just enough to where you have just enough room to where you're not going to cover up the palm when you're actually reloading or inserting the mag again.
And I noticed that your ability to see your sights is a lot faster as well.
A lot faster. Yeah. One thing I did notice is I have a tendency in shooting a little bit higher. So I was trying to shoot the same cadence and same speeds I was shooting with the bug guns. But my point aim, point impact just seemed like everything was a little bit higher. So those little ones were just outside and up on the top. Even when I went in for a lean angle, going to the left side of a barricade, I noticed that even then everything was high left.
Well, it's definitely not a lighter gun.
Definitely not a lighter gun,
but
it's
was
not
it the
that much heavier. So I think
angle?
It's just the angle and the way I was presenting the gun to the target.
Okay.
So I just gotta tweak it down just a touch.
So it's time to go do some standards.
Yeah, do a couple standards. I mean, it's not bad. Like I usually have a rule within myself of if I'm shooting at a speed and everything's within about an inch or so, then it's going to work itself out. And everything for the most part was about there.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking it's going to work itself out. But yeah, I mean, shooting some speed again, and getting used to the new platform, it's going to take a second.
So this is right out of the bat, straight from his car to the match. So his stage 8 warm up. Let's take a look.
Shooter ready. Stand by.
So after I didn't have any words for it, I just looked at it. I went, "Oh my god!"
Well, the reloads are so much easier with almost a full-size gun versus a little spicy cricket.
Right. I mean, well, when you're doing a reload with a bug, you have to be really specific, right? And even Scott Meyer, we're sitting there and we have like alignment tools using our hands and stuff like that. But now it's just free flowing and you're just moving now, right?
Yeah. Now you could actually freely move for the most part. Like I said, it's still a little bit smaller gun.
Right.
But I mean, it's leaps and bounds over the bug.
So we're going to see a little bit more of this stuff.
Yeah, I think you already have a challenge of shooting multiple divisions in one match, and I think this gun's going to probably end up going through more changes, and I mean maybe not necessarily changes, but probably more R&D on any gun than we ever have done.
Are you ready for that challenge?
I'd never again back down from some idea that you have.
Okay, so the next match, he's going to go out and he's going to start. What divisions are you going to shoot with that? Obviously, you can't do bug because
can't do bug. It won't fit in the box.
Right.
But I don't think you could shoot SSP with a ported gun. We'd have to kind of look at that one. I don't think we could.
Well, forget it. We'll just keep on going, just shoot them all.
Well, we'll shoot everything we can.
Okay.
And then see what happens. And
all in one day. All in one match. We'll see.
I mean, I think honestly we'll start off with carry optics because that way it's easier to pull the dot off.
Thing out and just go from there.
Just go from there. And
so if you have a battery issue or something like that, you can stay in the fight.
Stay in the fight and keep playing the game.
This is going to be interesting.
And especially that I haven't shot much with a dot, so it's going to be very interesting. I take that back. I haven't shot much competition with a dot. I mean, even then, most of my guns are all iron sight. I only have a couple guns that actually have a dot on them.
So you're shooting the AXG Legend P365.
Yeah, 365.
Did you have to change your mags or anything like that?
No. So I actually had the mags already when I got the gun.
Okay, so they're 10-round mags.
They're 10-round mags.
So California probably thanks you for that.
Yeah,
so
we're much safer being within only 10 rounds.
Okay, all right. So
turn those screws up a little bit.
So you're using all of your gear. It's just a different modification of the gun, right?
So different variation of the firearm.
Okay.
But the holster is different because the 365 I was running
Right.
Has its own holster because the grip module has the gas pedal built into the frame.
So you're using the same.
So I have a whole new holster.
Okay. Really?
Yeah. And then those holsters are also different from the macros and all the other 365 variations out there as well.
So there's a macro and there's an XL, right?
Correct.
So what are the difference between?
So you have the 365, which is a standard little tiny grip. Then you have the XL, which is same size slide, longer grip. Then you have the XL that has the standard grip and a little bit longer slide.
Okay.
And then the macro, which is a little bit longer grip, longer slide. So it just kind of goes from here and just keeps.
It's just a bigger gun.
Yeah, it just keeps stepping up either in the grip length or slide length.
Right. So he pulled us out prior pre-match, right?
Correct.
So at the safety table, he throws that thing on the table, looks at me, and I looked at the gun, and I'm like, oh my gosh. So I grabbed it, and I'm like, oh man, that it felt like a 1911 in my hand.
It's nice,
but just
frame.
Small. Yeah. I
I
fell in love with it almost immediately. So,
like I said, as soon as I touched it, I was like, "Yep, what do we need to do? I need this."
So, if you purchase a P365, a regular one, right?
Correct.
So the little baby one, is there a way that you can transfer that into the
Absolutely
macro?
can.
Really?
Yeah. So you can. There's different grip modules that you can actually buy that will mimic basically the Legion.
Yeah.
That AXG is a factory SIG, right from SIG. No frills, just literally everything the way it is from SIG.
Right.
So you can, in theory, take your standard California P365, buy a larger grip module and a longer slide, and have the same variant of my same gun that I'm currently running.
You have to. When you grab onto it, immediately it feels just like home, right? I'm just like, wow, this is really, really nice.
It is insanely nice.
So we got to definitely do that kind of stuff. So you're 3 and 5, you just rocked it.
Right.
One was actually it was just more of a lateral movement. It was all shooting, and then the other one you just were hauling ass. So 3, let's take a look at 3. Wow. So 3 was all trigger.
All trigger.
You start with retention, and
Just start letting it fly.
So you didn't have any problems with your finger going back and forth on that thing,
No,
right?
not at all. It's a nice, like I said, it's all right out of the box. I haven't touched it, haven't tuned it, haven't done anything with it, and so far it's working very nice.
What would be the trigger pull poundage on that thing?
I can't remember offhand, but if I had to guess, I'd say right around the 6.5 pound.
Oh, so that's standard.
It's pretty standard.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's pretty heavy
it's
compared to like
heavy compared to most
the
race
race
guns.
guys. Yeah.
But it also is a nice trigger. I mean, it's odd to say that you could have a heavy poundage and a nice trigger. It actually resets. It's really nice compared to a lot of other factory triggers.
Right.
So
Right.
I definitely can't complain about
Well,
it.
it definitely looks like you already got comfortable with it.
Well, I mean,
Immediately.
shooting something very similar to that, it does help.
Right. Right.
So the trigger on the 365 that I basically put together was
Yeah.
about the same as the gun that's shooting right now.
Right.
So.
Well, so stage 5. Let's take a look at his stage 5. Holy cow! So that was fast. So that's a lot
was
more
fun.
movement,
A lot more movement.
right? You've been working out, or
No.
how are you picking up this speed? So you,
Sure grit and
is that what it is? Is that something you can just lay on your forehead when you take a nap and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's like the new wraps that you put over your head, like
Osmosis,
cover your
right?
eyes. Yeah, just.
So you can see that the fantastic video coverage was taken by myself, and I was just
those camera angles. I mean, look.
I was
obviously you're fast enough to keep up.
I was just walking forward. I never stopped walking, right? And you're shooting, and I'm just keep on walking, and I'm just making sure. I'm like, please keep on moving, right? And you turned around and you started taking off. I'm like, holy cow! So
Like I said, every once in a while when you see a stage like that, you're like, oh, this is gonna be fun.
Yeah.
You know, where some of those other stages where they're gonna have a mag change somewhere where it just does not flow.
Right.
Where this one, you were able to make it flow and just keep going. So stages like that are really nice.
So it's I would have to say it's a transition between the bug, right, and ESP, right? So this is definitely
like
in the
happy
middle.
medium. It's
Yeah.
You know, you kind of got to think bug, but you can kind of think ESP as
Right.
far as round count and everything else. Do I think the ESP guns are way faster and quicker target to target?
Yeah.
You know, shooting a lot quicker, a lot faster. Yes, absolutely.
Because of its ability to stabilize?
The tuning
or?
ability, you know, the heavier guns, you know,
Okay.
they're going to be a little bit bulkier, but they're going to shoot faster, flatter.
Right.
The CCP guns, they're still like a maybe not summer concealed carry, but
Yeah, right,
you know,
right.
it's like an everyday carry gun that you could pretty much.
So that brings us to another point, and this is definitely you're right in the wheelhouse of all the concealed carry guys, right? So these are their everyday carries. This is what the spirit of IDPA is all about, right? So
If I had to, being that I haven't shot CCP yet,
Right.
that is, I would say, the truest division for IDPA. It is what the vast majority of guys that are concealed carrying are carrying.
Right.
It's about a 19 size gun for all the Glock guys. It is pretty much a standard across the board for everybody.
Yeah.
You know, everybody goes, oh, well, take the 17 size or the 19 size or the 26 size.
Right.
And that's basically like if you had to kind of go with a general rule that everybody kind of grasps the concept, it's that size. So it's that 19 size gun that,
Right.
you know, the vast majority of concealed carry guys are going to carry.
So the new guys into the sport, would you recommend that they start at CCP, or would you what division?
Honestly,
would you?
I think you should, because if you take a CCP gun like a 19, in theory, you could shoot ESP. Or sorry, not ESP, but SSP.
Okay.
So you have a factory gun, shoot SSP, and then you could go with that same gun, modify it, go ESP, or you could go CCP. So, I mean, to start out, I always would like seeing guys that are new to the sport shooting
Right.
into it. Start with SSP. You buy a gun right off the shelf,
Yeah.
and you come shoot. You don't have to worry about your rule book so much because it's all factory.
Yeah.
It's all stock. Don't modify it.
Right.
Don't change anything. Maybe sights. Worst case scenario, if you don't like them, great. Come out and shoot.
Right.
It's the fastest, easiest way to get out there and start shooting.
So that's so CCP is kind of lumped in with SSP and ESP and carry optics. They're all carrying 10 rounds. So they pretty much that's where everybody's going to be beginning. So that it's not too hard. You can just
not at
turn
all.
around. Everybody knows exactly what to do. You just ask them, especially round counts and mag changes, right?
Yeah, I mean, we're always asking each other. You know, that's the great part about
Right.
Another great part of
Right.
having teammates is bouncing ideas or like,
Right.
hey, why would you do this versus this? Like even John asked me, he goes, why are you shooting this way? I was like,
Right.
well, for me, under recoil, it's going to naturally drive my sights up and then take
Right.
the shots there. And he's like, that makes so much sense.
So you notice that there's a decrease in numbers of non-threats these days.
It seemed like there was.
You-
I just so
what's
happened
your
to hit
thoughts on
one as
that?
well.
You did what?
I did.
You didn't.
I did. Going a little too hot, and I thought I had a little bit better, and I was trying to push some limits.
Right.
So when you're pushing limits, that happens.
So I was going so fast. I came around. It was just really bad. I don't think I had my iron sights sighted in, but I hit this non-threat so bad that the SO didn't see it. It was so bad.
I saw it, I was like,
Oh my
how am I the only one that saw this one?
It was rough because it off counted me, right? So I I mean, it was only two. I believe it was.
So did you know as soon as you let that trigger go?
When I came around the corner, I went bam. I went, oh.
Like,
yeah,
ooh, I knew what happened there.
Yeah, I was still on the first target because I had to take a little side step to take one because the array on the far right side was there were 4 targets and not 3, right? And I only have 6 shots, and so I said, well, I'll just take this one and then take the 2 on the side. But the first target on the left side had a non-threat
that
right
little
there.
non-threat there.
And
like,
I can't wait. And as soon as I just see something, and I'll
like,
light up.
all
on
right.
it. I center punched that one. I'm like, oh, that wasn't good. So I think I can.
I mean, you could have possibly got an A zone on that non-threat. If not, it was pretty close.
wrong sport, but maybe we should try that with a bug, right? So you came in 17th overall with that CCP. So you notice that you do have the ability to go fast. And yesterday was all just comfort and sighting and testing.
Comfort. I mean, like I said, taking something right out of the box and basically picking up a holster for it.
Yeah.
Having your rest of your gear kind of already there for the setup.
Right.
So that wasn't terrible, but it's still a new gun, new everything, like a whole nother learning curve. It maybe not as steep of as a learning curve, being that, the platform's pretty close to the same.
Yeah.
But no matter what, it's still a wholly different gun.
Oh, that's awesome. So third in the division overall, behind the 2 fastest guys, both masters, I believe, in CCP. Jerry Chang and Bill Olmsted. So fastest stage 8 to best stages were 3 and 5, which we just saw. So, wow, what else is going on? So yesterday, I was full. It was it was an exciting day for me. So I've been in the process of changing or buying new cars, right, or trucks, and so I had to clean out my truck because I'm going to sell it, and
what did you forget?
all my gear was out there, so I was left with tennis shoes.
Well, I mean, it's better than slippers.
I don't know how it is, but
I've done that before at the range, and luckily,
did you shoot with slippers?
No, luckily, Kurt hooked me up with his work boots.
Oh, that's right.
Which, like I said, goes back into it's a great thing having teammates.
Right.
As discussed earlier with John, and shooting a whole new gun. Like, you forget something that is completely just
man.
like, I am so dumb right now.
Oh.
I mean, even the last match,
right?
Me and Dan load ammo, so we always have like more than enough for the 4 of us to shoot no matter what.
Right.
I completely forgot my ammo, and I was like halfway to the range. I'm like, I think I forgot my ammo.
So that brings up a great point. So there was another gentleman that I was doing a mentor on, and he was running a little short on his ammo. So Leaf and I had this conversation about bringing an extra firearm, ammo, full setup, right, for something just in case, right? And I was doing that for the longest time. I had everything, right? Everything from medical to actually shooting in the back of my truck. So, but the thing was that because it was a truck, it was lugging around so much equipment. And, and so,
it adds up quick.
Oh, but when I cleaned out my truck, I noticed.
Took a couple hours.
Oh, that really showed me exactly how much crap I was actually carrying around, right? So
might increase another couple miles a gallon.
So getting back to the shoes, so I didn't have shoes. Not that you need special shoes, but they would definitely help on that.
It definitely helps on
that.
Hard pack stuff.
Man, my first stage, we were running around. I was ice skating out there, right? And
there's
with
a couple times I was like, ooh.
So they were, so I had no knobby tread on my shoes.
I mean, there's a reason why you don't go off-roading with slicks.
But the thing is, shouldn't a CCW shooter practice this type of stuff, though?
You should, but I mean, for the most part, your CCW guy is going to be carrying around sidewalks, everything else, to where you have mostly stable pavement. I mean, you could always play devil's advocate and what ifs forever, but I mean, the vast majority of stuff is you're not going to be out in the middle of the desert and getting robbed at gunpoint. I mean,
good point.
I'm not saying it couldn't happen, but
but that's
the
just not the
likelihood is
optimal
majority.
thing.
Most burglars, robbers, thieves, and all that are not going to go out in the middle of nowhere and go, hey, let's go search for a target.
Right.
They're most likely going to go to the ATM and try to pick up some quick cash. So
I'm just, oh man. So I attempted to shoot the match with just tennis shoes, and that actually ended up making a second video.
So, what to do when wearing ice skates?
Oh, geez, can you shoot an IDPA match in tennis shoes, right? So
obviously
I did. Obviously, you can.
I'm sure a lot of people do.
Yeah, it's just the usual times like ripping. Once you're done shooting, I usually just take off. But I noticed that I can't do that.
Yeah,
specifically. So the little additional things to like competitive, the race guys type of techniques. I definitely had to put that at a bay. So
you're definitely not gonna do some Carl Lewis.
Definitely no Carl Lewis yesterday. So it was more like, let's do this gradually and move forward, right? And
the graceful parade.
Oh man, but shooting with you, I needed to go fast, and yeah, I just. So the other thing was I had some gun issues, right?
You did.
So I sat there, and that was my very first pull the trigger and click.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and went,
This isn't supposed to happen.
Yeah, I was like, wow, that's just weird. So that just threw my count off for one, and then I was kind of scrambling for that stuff. So
It's amazing how something so small can create such big havoc. Like a missed shot or a click or something like that. That's just like, great. Now what? Like the instant panic.
Absolutely. So it turned a great stage into more of what you do with failures, right? So I had to do failure drills, and I'm like, today is not the day I want to be practicing my failure drills, but every once in a while you have to do that, right? So that's what I did.
Makes the great stages that much nicer.
So I gave my gun. I gave it to Viking. Viking took a look at it. He just looked at me and went, "You got a dirty gun, man." I'm like,
dirty
how dare you? I wanted to see how far I can shoot with this gun and see how it would react. Up until now, I would have to tell you, I was very impressed with that thing. Right?
Yeah. Well, when you put how many rounds?
That was
the entire season.
Okay, so it's not the usual.
We know you didn't just like even give it a.
All right.
It was more like.
Well,
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I haven't cleaned that since I started shooting it. I think it had to have been at least 10,000 rounds this season alone, right? So and finally I started seeing signs, and these aren't good signs. Well, luckily it happened before Washington, because Washington is a couple weeks.
That would have sucked.
Yeah, all that way, and
all of a sudden.
Yeah, people looking at me like, really? You're practicing failure drills now?
Does that give you another sign of when traveling you might want to bring an extra gun for the same division?
Oh, no. I don't have... Oh, no, not that P365. Okay, maybe
what it'd be worse is to show all the way up there and not be able to shoot the division.
Right. So eventually I'm moving my way up to CCP, which will be by next month. I'll be joining the rankings, the fast kids, and we'll see if I can keep up.
CCP crew?
Yeah, the CCP crew. Absolutely. So, so how did you feel when you got home after the match yesterday?
Oh, I was smoked. So got home, called up Megan on the way and said, hey, we're going to a local pub around the corner from the house. So me, Dan, and Megan went. And usually, after the match, like celebrate, grab some wings, some fries, a beer, and, relax a little bit. And did that, got home, and I just looked at Megan like, I'm not showered, I'm not anything. I laid on the floor and just wanted to relax in silence for a minute. I fell asleep, and she woke me up an hour later. It's like, you've been asleep for an hour. I'm like, no, I haven't. I looked at the time like, ooh, I guess I have. I think I should maybe shower now.
Was that more fatigue or a dehydration or what?
No, so usually if I know it's going to be hot like that, I'll hydrate. Right. At least 2 days before.
Right.
Like I'm constantly drinking water throughout the day, no matter what. So I'll drink minimum 64 plus ounces a day.
Right, because if you're out there and you get thirsty, it's too late.
You're already too late.
Yeah.
So the day before, I usually do like a liquid IV, something like of that nature. At least do 2-3 of those the day before, and then do another one the morning of, and then I'll do another one after the match. So.
Right. So you're not sticking lines in your arm. You're actually drinking a drink.
I'm actually drinking, so that way it's preventing.
What is it called? Liquid IV.
Liquid IV. Little packets. It's like a.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like the.
You add it to water, or.
Yeah, you add it to water, so it's a little powder form, so it's nice, especially on range days, something like that. They're small little packs.
So they electrolytes.
Yeah, electrolytes. So rather than buying a big Gatorade or something like that, I find the Gatorades and all that are really sweet. Even the sugar-free stuff, where that stuff's a little saltier, so you're putting a lot more of the salts back in your body.
It makes you a little more thirsty when you drink this stuff.
A little bit. So you actually want to drink it pretty quick because you're like, oh, it's kind of making you thirsty. You keep hydrating, and then usually I'll chase that with some more water and all that, or dilute it even more depending on which one.
Right.
But I swear by those when I do like the Barca to Vegas ride on the dual sports and all that. Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm hydrating.
Yeah. And you would definitely be the one to be an expert on hydration and so forth. Yeah. So that's a great tip. You try to, when you start to hydrate for a match, you want to start that the day before.
Yeah, I usually start, if I know it's going to be, the upper 90s, I'll start doing at least 2 days before, minimum.
So when you're there, do you focus on eating or anything? Or what do you eat?
Personally, I'm not a big eater in the morning. Like, I never have been.
Right.
It's just my thing.
Yeah, stomach issues. And
it's not necessarily stomach issues. I think it's just, naturally, I don't wake up that hungry. I want to get moving.
Right.
So naturally for me, I'll drink some water, maybe coffee, something of that nature, and then just keep going. Then, I have to be up for a couple hours for the most part before I even get hungry or want to eat anything.
10 o'clock, I'm sure you're going to kill it.
Yeah. By about that time, that's when I'm hungry and I need to eat something. So usually like range days, matches, I have some beef jerky.
Okay.
Little breakfast bar or something of that nature. So just
protein.
Yeah, just keep eating just little things. Maybe a couple carbs here and there.
Yeah.
The honey energy stingers, like little gummies, stuff like that. Yeah. Some guys like the gels. When I'm doing dual sport rides and all that, I like the gels because they're quick, easy energy.
Right.
Because you're basically wearing this stuff and packing on a vest and riding a motorcycle hundreds of miles over the dirt.
Survival. So, absolutely. Yeah.
So those things are not bad, but
so your meals fit in your hand.
Basically fit in your hand. Okay. You'll basically start for a lunch or stop for a lunch real quick, but sometimes that's not an option. So
you just keep on the ride.
Yeah.
So there's another tip. Just the meal size. If it fits in your hand, that's what you're going to be eating all day. You do that regular and consistently, and then I'll pretty much get you through the match, right? Yeah. So so Megan had she developed a team challenge. So Viking and I, we off camera, you can see us always butting heads and stuff like that and talking nonsense, right?
Oh yeah.
And then Megan, I guess, just wanted to shut us up, right? So
I think she might have something up her sleeve.
So she developed this thing, Megan's team challenge. I'm eagerly anticipating what the heck type of shenanigans this will be.
I'm kind of curious myself. All I know is she is evil.
Right.
Very, very evil.
So we are
in a very nice way. I'm just kidding.
We're going to definitely show you a little bit more about that upcoming. So that would probably be by next month. We have everything that she requesed. And
I mean, how much did she request? I mean, maybe you might know. Like, all I heard is the evil laugh and they chuckle.
It had to deal with something. The challenge coins. I'm like, what? And so I'm like, okay. So Ryan Ammons has a creative chaos, I believe it is. They make certain things where they laser engrave and stuff like that. So I gave him a shout out and asked him to help me out, and he sat there and goes, "Oh yeah, I can do that."
So what's on these challenge coins?
Is
that even a tip?
I have no idea. It's coming, and everybody will get to see the unveiling by next month. So definitely. So Yeah, I don't even know where to begin on that stuff.
We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll definitely find out on that stuff. But that's all I have. Well, anything new with you? Any lasting comments?
Nothing really new. I mean, maybe some more shenanigans. Got another fishing trip coming on, and maybe some shenanigans from you going up north.
Yes, so I'll be going to in 2 weeks. I'll be going up to Washington State Championships, IDPA Championships. So we'll see how that works out. Joe Dodden. So
I wish I could have been
to see him. We get to do that type of thing. Other than that, we're just out there rocking. A special shout out to the viewers that hit our super thanks button. This is your support. Busy at work. We appreciate your help and support. Definitely, we couldn't do it without you guys. Thank you so much. Please consider being a part of our shooting community, building relationships around safe gun practice and IDPA competition. My name is Paul G, and this is
Anthony the Viking Vega.
Please be safe, and we'll see you on the range.
Like, share, subscribe.